Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to hear this Tuesday morning. Got a great show lineup, two special guests here in studio, and familiar faces you're going to really enjoy listening to. But first, let's get our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at Baldwin Road and Highway 77. Run by and check out. You want to try to get some kind of summer programs going, run by and check out and see what they have to offer. That's Principal Mike kept installed and a very capable staff at Haney Technical Center. High today, folks, we're looking at an 86, and low tonight, it's going to be a 68. Water temperature is 74 now. The whole week looks sunny and all, and it's really been, it was a pretty weekend. Got another great week coming up, so great week for the outdoors. We're going to skip the river readings today. I want to do a real short weather, but let's just go to our Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home tides for the day. Okay, we're looking at a low tide at 6:01, and we're talking about some strong tides today and tomorrow. Low at 6:01 and high right in the middle of the day about 12:32. Okay, good. That's a 1.8 foot tide. And we're at the end of May, so got snapper season coming up this weekend, all kind of stuff we're going to talk about. But let's go ahead and take our first break and come back with our special guest. And welcome back, and check out who's here. Matt.
Coach, good morning.
Matt Smith, Justin, and Justin Lee. Y'all know, no need to introduce them. They've been with us a long time. Y'all were just in my outdoor class, a couple years ago?
That's right, yeah, 13 and counting.
Well, are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I remember our
goodness.
10-year reunion was a little while back. So,
oh, my goodness.
It's been a while.
It just seemed like y'all there a couple of years ago. Man,
Yeah.
time flies.
You told us it would speed up as we went along. You were right.
Yep.
I did. Y'all remember some of the things I did tell y'all?
Absolutely.
And the stories, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, those stories you tell in there, they stick with you forever.
Yep.
They still
anyways.
like those stories.
And speaking of quick story and back to outdoor ed, the other day I was cleaning out some old tackle and found a C car,
That's
a
right.
Chuck car, crazy convict. And Justin and I were talking when
Yeah.
Mr. Carr came down and carved
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
those plugs
That was a
for us,
neat
showed us
day.
how he did it,
That was
and,
cool.
and gave us all lures. Still got
Yeah.
mine in the
Yeah,
package.
you don't
Cool.
think much of those, but that it really does inspire kids a lot of times. I mean, I can remember going home and first thing I did was pull a pocket knife out and start carving. You know, you just want to.
And that's the one of the things I'm talking about, always giving back. Mr. Carr, Chuck Carr from Lynn Haven, he'd come down to class and he did that, and I'm glad y'all remember that. He's a little sick now, but I see him every now and then. But
Cool.
he's not making him. So if you have a crazy convict from Chuck Carr, you want to hold on to it.
Hang on to it. There's
Don't
a
make
lot
it
of
more.
work right there in your hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very talented.
All right, guys, y'all are on the water all the time. Y'all, it's sad. I teach y'all to do outdoor stuff, and then y'all get on the water more than I do. so tell us what's going on.
It's worked out pretty well, Justin, on the Gulf.
Man, on the Gulf side, anybody that's been in the Gulf lately, it has been unbelievably pretty. I really think we're being paid back for our rough, nasty early spring. February was nice, but then after that, man,
March
was just
awful.
a washout.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Gulf now, the water is crystal clear. I know you had Bob Stapleton on here the other day. A week ago, and y'all were talking about that, and I saw some of his dive videos, and that's what the water looks like everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It is just
beautiful,
crystal clear. It's been very calm, very nice, and the fishing has been good because of it.
Yeah.
I mean, anything, the amberjack, that snapper opener ought to be pretty nice.
Yeah.
I know everybody probably remembers last year it was rough and not real good conditions. Hopefully it'll be a little payback for those rough conditions this year.
I'm going out with similar wind Saturday morning.
Right,
and
man.
I'm just I'm going to be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah, I bet.
Really, I'm still at my age. I still get so excited about opening the snapper
Absolutely.
season.
If anybody knows where the snapper lives, it's Billy Archer.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know, but they're going to be. We'll go way out, but now you'll stay pretty close.
Yeah, we don't fish very far from it. Oh, we have been. I mean, matter of fact, just the past few days in these calm conditions, we've been riding, 4 or 5 miles and catching them up to a legitimate 12 to 15 pounds.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
Very, very nice snapper, in real close. I mean, we've been seeing some in the bay. They're actually, I think a fair population of keeper snapper inside the bay. So, they're not just a 30-mile offshore fish. They do come in the bay, and anyways, the clear water, great conditions, everything, piles of bait now. You know,
Okay.
and all the whistle buoys covered up with bait, all the buoy lines covered up with bait. All our bait is here.
Or now
So,
the Kings running pretty strong right now.
Inshore they are, like right up along the beach, the buoys, stuff
Yeah.
like that. They're getting pretty steady. Out a little ways, run your inshore wrecks and stuff. Not, we've been catching a couple, but not real consistent.
And the Spanish, are they still around? Or
There's some big Spanish in the bay.
The
That's what I've
Spanish
been
in
catching.
the bay, the numbers are not real big right now, but the ones we are catching are big.
It's almost kind of like the late summer situation. You know, you get your big spring migration, and then most of them migrate back out, but you've got a certain percentage of them that stay in the bay, and they just eat all summer long.
Yeah.
And at the end of summer, you're catching 5, 6, 7 pound Spanish. This year, already catching 3 and 4 pound Spanish. So
What are they going to be like in
right,
August?
exactly.
They're gonna be
So-
huge.
because they did get here early, and then the weather shut them down, and I think they stayed, and they've just gotten a head start. But same thing with the bay. I mean, the water cleaned up. You know, there early we had still kind of had some dirty water with that rain, the weather, and all the tough conditions. But the water's cleaned up. The bait got here, and things are good. You just got a lot of options. Trout fishing's getting better by the day. Flounder had moved back in the bay really well, catching some jack crevalle, some Spanish. I mean, if you can get some good bait and get in an area and chum, you'll have fish there. Things are good.
How would y'all grade the cobia season this year?
Ooh, it was good.
Y'all,
We still
in
been
general, 'cause
catching
I know
some.
y'all-
You know, there's always a number of the population that when they migrate through, they jump on a wreck or something and hang out. And we have been still consistently catching them around
Okay.
these
Good
close-in
numbers.
wrecks and stuff. It's starting to slow down a little
Yeah.
bit, that is. But, you know, April was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Had a great season.
Okay.
And then really May was you know, we're kind of winding down on May, but most of May was pretty good around that near shore structure.
And a lot of your buddies got some too. didn't
Oh
they?
yeah. And you know, it's kind of like last year, a lot better than last year. But you talk to people, and they went and they got to go for 3 or 4 days, and it was just the chance of were they out there on the right day when all the fish were seen. So you know, it's just kind of a flip of the coin. But it's a lot of fish seen.
Yeah, and I had a lot of pictures and all. I could judge by the
that's right.
people sending in the pictures. It was a good year on cobia.
Yeah, I know you had one picture on here. It was actually a picture that I took of Brian Huggins throwing that fish up in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how some of those days were, where, you know, like I had 2 guys on a charter that day. They both caught one. Hey, they're done. We were catching them, letting them go, and, you know, and really just kind of playing with them.
Yeah.
Just having a good time with them. Because really we had some days where, you know, and this is honestly typical of what it used to be like.
Yeah.
We always talk about the good old days. It was kind of nice this year. We got to see what that was like again.
That's a good point. All right, look, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Here with Matt Smith and Justin Leake. I should say captain in front of y'all.
No, not necessary.
Yeah, y'all doing good. They got tell the folks the name of your business.
It's PanamaCityInshore.com.
So they can go on the website and check it out. They got some great pictures and great video on there too. Some good stuff.
And something else, we've got the PanamaCityInshore.com Facebook page.
Yeah, which is true. You know, our Panama City Inshore website has always been kind of our outlet for pictures and reports. But now we do more of a monthly report on there. But our Facebook page, we're putting pictures on there pretty much every day.
Daily.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, let's talk about tackle now. And some rigs and all. Tell us some things y'all are doing.
I'll go into real quick on the bay. You know, a lot of times people think that there's probably a lot of specifics, a lot of secret lures and this sort of thing, and you look in my tackle bag or tackle box this time of year, it'll be pretty disappointing. It's pretty simple. It's some leads, some fluorocarbon, leader, hooks, and a handful. That's it. Simplified, and of course now you're in the charter business. You're in the business of taking people fishing, showing them a good time. You want them to catch fish, and so live bait is hard to beat. So that's what I'm getting at is mostly just terminal tackle for your live bait fishing. But to go into that, Justin and I were talking about the details. Some of the small things we do. We say, hey, we're using braided line, a fluorocarbon leader. This is particular knots, and that is so critical. That gets overlooked. And if there's any one thing to spend a little time on to make sure you're doing right, it's your tackle and keeping it simple, but you want to do it right. And kind of
good
tie it into
knots.
what we do.
Good knots catch more fish.
Absolutely.
Yeah. At the end of the day, really, there's not any magic spot that we fish or any magic thing. It's just attention to details and preparation. You know, people talk about it all the time, especially like when snapper season coming up and riding out there and talking about the cobias, having a rod ready, but not just having a rod with a jig tied, you know, straight to some mono that you put on the rod 3 years ago, because then that results in more disappointment.
Absolutely.
To me, the only thing worse than not having something ready is having something kind of ready and hooking that fish, and then it just breaks off.
Oh, no.
So, you know, those attention to details. You know, we fish a lot of braided line now, and not just learning a knot, but learning to tie a knot well is very important. We use a uni knot a lot, and I know you showed some knots on here, like the blood knot, and the blood knot is a great knot, especially for similar diameter lines. That's one reason I started using this uni knot, was when we started fishing braided line. The uni knot is really good for lines of varying diameters. And you know, when you're tying a braided line that's so thin to like a 40-pound fluorocarbon leader, that uni knot really does well. And the way you can perfect it is figuring out the number of wraps to use. Like if I'm tying, you know, a piece of 40-pound fluorocarbon to 15-pound braided line, for example, I only put 3 wraps on the fluorocarbon, but I put 9 wraps on the braided line. So I'd say a good tip there would be to get some line, practice those knots, you know, because just being able to tie that knot is not really, it's not good enough. Being able to tie it really well is what's going to make you, you know, catch more fish.
Absolutely.
That sounds good. That's a good tip, brother.
Man, by narrowing down the knots you use, you get your confidence in them, and then the more you use those, and you're just using a handful, you get real efficient. And we've all been in a situation, the heat of the moment, and you don't want to be trying to remember, get flustered, and you want to be really proficient in those quick decisions, be able to make a rig real quick and put a bait in the water sometimes can be the difference between a successful day and not, or a less successful day. Tying into the tackle, something that you'll never see me on the boat without, and it sometimes gets overlooked, is these pliers. A good pair of pliers are worth their weight in gold. These have a clip on them, go on my belt, and these are on my side at all times. And you know, these are a lot of things in fishing. You can kind of spend as much money as you want. You can definitely get a good pair for less money, and you can spend more money and get a better pair. But this would be an excellent, anybody out there watching, for an excellent Father's Day gift for a serious fisherman. These cut braid real well, and from a conservation standpoint, having these right here on my side, get a fish to the boat, whether taking a fly or a hook or a plug out. It's quick. I'm not searching. I'm not having somebody look for my pliers. I can release that fish healthier back to the water.
And then also with snapper season coming up, that counts as a de-hooker.
Yeah.
So you got one person that gets on your boat with a pair of pliers on their side, and I mean, and to me that's something else too, is having a sheath and a lanyard on them where you quickly, I mean, these are on my side all the time, and you're not, you know, you don't pull a fish over the side of the boat, hey, you know, y'all pass me a pair of pliers down or a de-hooker. I mean, you pull the fish up, pull them up, and then they're right there all the time.
Wow. That's a great idea. It is a great gift for Father's Day.
Go to your local tackle store here. If they don't stock it on shelf, they can order it for you. And the higher end pliers are serviceable. I sent these off over the winter, $30. They came back better than new cutters.
Oh, cool.
And everything. So it's money well spent.
You know, you can actually, you know, and there are, surprisingly, there's a lot of companies now that do them a little cheaper.
They do.
Some aluminum, you know, nice aluminum pliers with a sheath, but you can go anywhere from probably $50 to $300 on pliers. And it sounds, you know, kind of crazy on the high end, but you know, it's a lifetime investment. It's like buying a nice gun. So, you know,
that's right.
You buy a nice gun and you pass it down to your kids. You can actually do that with these pliers.
Absolutely.
Well, let's get back to tackle real quick. You talked about tying your fluorocarbon leader to your braided line. Now, what size hook? How you tying your hooks on and all now? What knot are y'all using?
All depends on the rig.
It does. And most of the time, with the new braided line revolution, the knot that you use to tie your hook to your leader is usually not as important, because your knot from your braided line to your leader is usually going to be your weakest link.
That's right.
You know, if you're fishing a 15-pound main line, your braid, and a 25-pound or 30-pound leader, you know, usually that knot where your braid connects to your leader is going to be your weakest link. So that knot is so important. But I actually use the uni knot as well.
So you
and that's why it's good to learn that knot, that uni
right.
knot. It's very versatile. You can use it to tie two lines together. You can use it to tie a hook to a line. As a matter of fact, I should have brought some yarn on to show that the uni knot. I'm sure you can get online and watch a video of it. But the uni knot, if you tie your braid, and a lot of people do this snapper fishing, they don't tie a line-to-line knot. They tie their braided line to a swivel, and then to their leader with a sliding sinker, like a normal knocker rig.
Yeah.
But the uni knot is the best knot to tie braid to. And the only difference that I do is I run the line through the eye of the swivel twice.
Yeah.
If you take your main line, your braided line, and run it through the eye of the swivel twice, and then tie a uni knot with like 6 to 8 wraps, it is. I mean, it's the strongest braid knot to tie straight to something like that.
All right.
So that's
all right. Good tackle talk right there. Look, we're going to take a break, then we'll come back and talk about this season, what's going on right now, what's in season, and what to look forward to early summer. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. We're going to first look at our fishing times for today. Brought to us by Mark Coward at Edgewater Beach Realty, 832-6000. And we're looking at this morning, we're going to a good strong tide about 8:30 to 10:30 this morning, and later on this afternoon about 7:15 to about 9:15. About 2 areas right there. Okay. Or as Matt said, what's a good time?
Anytime you can go, and to tie into that, we talk about conditions all the time. Usually we get a little more in depth, and one of the things as it gets, for me particularly in the bay, as the water temperature gets warmer, those tides become that much more critical.
Yeah.
You always want moving water, but in the heat of summer, that you literally, most of the time somebody calls me and says, hey, can we go, 3-4 days from now, I'll ask if I can call them back. I'll look at my tide chart, and I'm looking for a specific range. I want a good movement, good rising tide in the morning, falling tide in the afternoon, and I will literally block in that 4 hours for that trip when I think the water's going to be moving. The best. If we can do that, it's that important.
That's good. So. Now, what about we're in last week of May and June, right around the corner, so we're in late spring fishing. So our pattern, our season. So what are we going to start looking for now?
One of the things we talked about early on was we're about a month behind this year, or at least compared to last year. We've been rethinking our game plans a little bit. Water temperatures are still a little low for this time of year, so.
Yeah, I would say something else too. Pre-snapper season this week, if y'all want to get out and do something nice, as long as it doesn't blow up real quick, and keep our fingers crossed it doesn't. The beach fishing has been very active. There's a lot going on the beach. What made me think about it was talking about how we're kind of behind schedule. Last year we were actually running tarpon trips, catching them, by now.
Yeah.
But we do have some starting to show up now. Seeing a few on the beach there. But king mackerels. Swimming right down the sandbar.
Yeah.
It's funny how we get out there on the beach and spend so much time in a tower in cobia season, and then April goes by, May goes by. Or the beginning of May goes by, and we just quit.
We're doing it.
We get off the beach.
The fish is still out
there. Man,
there.
there's so much on the beach right now. Now that the bait's stretched up and down the beach, big schools of redfish. So that is a fun thing to do on these really nice, clear weather days. The water's so clear. It's beautiful just riding down the beach, but the amount of fish you'll see is unbelievable.
Just visual.
As a matter of fact, I know Russ Stewart caught a sailfish a couple weeks ago right on the beach. So having a few rods ready, have a topwater plug, have a couple with jig heads, have a couple live bait rods ready, having a few, a little assortment of rods and just cruising right down the sandbar. You'd be amazed at the amount of fish that are there, and then we can sight fish.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Absolutely. And even if you wanted to take a little cut bait and you wanted to catch a big fish, a shark starts showing up.
There's black tips, a lot of black tips on the beach.
Sure. Sure.
And I tell you, if you never sight fished a black tip, it's really a lot of fun. They jump.
Oh, they jump up.
Oh man, they'll put on a show in that clear water up there on the beach. It's exciting.
So it's cool to watch the swimmers kind of all
scattered.
You got a 5-6 foot shark on.
Yeah, and that's a good tie-in. We were talking about some etiquette too there. Most of this, like I'm talking about the beach fishing, would be along Shell Island. And, you get there in Shell Island, see a boat cruising slowly with people looking, running. There's just so much room to ride around out there.
Yeah.
It is. There's no reason to go run, and I'm always in the mindset, I'm trying to think, what are they doing?
Yeah.
A lot of times we get so concerned with what we have going on, we forget about what is that boat that I'm about to pass.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah.
And if they're running along, then it's probably fine to run right on by them. But if you see them slow, holding fishing rods, something like that, you know, I always like to try to figure out, hey, what are they doing, and
Yeah.
am I going to affect them?
Yeah.
right.
Well, you're so important about doing these kind of things. And Matt, we talked about it before too. So you'll be fishing a hole or something, somebody come up right next to you.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, now you're say you're fishing in the pass, or you're fishing somewhere close proximity to the pass, just offshore. You're in a high traffic area.
Yeah.
You're going to be,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to have boats around you. That little bit of etiquette and people thinking ahead, trying to be considerate. One of the most frustrating things for me is to be up in the bay on a shallow grass flat. Number one, we've talked about before in great length about trying to stay off the grass flats. I mean, you know, for everything from doing damage to the bottom to constantly disrupting the fish up there trying to feed. You know, when we're running around, try to stay out offshore, stay out in the channels. But when you're up shallow like that and work in the area, and to have a boat or jet skis come cut across there, that's just one of those things that just really gets under your skin. But etiquette and trying to treat people the way you want to be treated, and we're coming up on, of course, a busy weekend, and a little bit of that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and not too long ago, I was fishing with a young man reminded me of you two guys. He's a senior this year, and we were fishing a dock and all, and then a guy came up fishing, threw in the same hole. He had 2 kids with him, threw in the same hole. And
I know.
I told him, Brandon, I said, he's teaching those kids it's okay to do that.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
And,
it.
There's plenty of areas to fish out there.
There really is.
And, you know, or even, you know, and there are certain times, like in the past, we'll have a bunch of guide boats all right together. So there are times where, you know, it's okay, but you need to be considerate when it's somebody, you know, that you don't know, and to pull right up on them. And I know there's plenty of people this weekend with snapper season opening that'll, you know, have their little differences and stuff like that, but there's no reason for it.
I always look at it, you know, I get in that situation a lot. Sometimes the bay seems awfully small. There's somebody everywhere you want to go. And so many times I've pulled up and said, man, I really wanted to fish there, but you know what? If I was that guy, I wouldn't come in on him. Go elsewhere and try something different, kind of reach, you know, kind of go to the back of the book, so to speak, and find something that I wouldn't fish
find
otherwise.
something new.
All right, boy, we got to wrap it up.
Coach, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Always
Thanks
great
for
to have
having
you
us.
guys. Okay, y'all go fishing. I'm gonna go to work.
That's what we're going to do.
All right. And thank you guys for watching the show today. You do something good for somebody. You have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.